Hello and welcome to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm. I am the Faithful Stamper and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. Today I am doing a different kind of card technique. Lately I've been focusing on techniques that use up designer series paper because I have a ton of it, and I love simple techniques that are easy to work with. And this one is no exception, but this one has you looking at designer series paper in a different manner. This is called altered DSP technique, and what we're doing is we're selecting a piece of paper and we're going to alter it by using Sharpies or other markers to get a different design. And so this is what we're going to work on today. I learned this technique from a fellow consultant. Her name is Karen Titus. She is a fellow Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and she does all kinds of fun techniques, and this was one that I really liked, and so I wanted to share it. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'll teach you the basics. We are going to start with a piece of designer series paper that is 3 inches by 4 inches. What we're looking for here is a piece of paper with more of an all-over pattern, maybe larger florals, something that we can outline some of the pieces with a Sharpie or another kind of marker. You can see this one has kind of large solid images. This is one of our new in colors, Peach Pie, and we have a whole stack of paper in all the 5 colors, and this is one of the sheets. They are double-sided. I wouldn't recommend something with a lot of lines, but this sort of worked for an all-over floral. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take a fine line Sharpie or some other kind of thin marker. That's what I recommend getting started with. And again, 3 by 4. And this is going to be the basis for our card. And all you're going to do, you're basically going to outline your shapes. It's almost like being back in elementary school years. So I'm just going to take my Sharpie and trace along, not right on, but right next to the lines here. One of the great things with this technique is it does not have to be perfect. It's really going to look kind of artsy. And everybody, if I gave every one of you watching the same piece of paper, they would all look different based on how exactly you outlined it. And you can do as much or as little on your paper as you like. Now, you will find that certain papers will not work well for this technique. I had a whole lot of designer series paper that was not going to look right at all. But something like this would work very well, and I'm going to show you some other ideas at the end of the video. I actually like this technique so much that recently I shared it in a workshop and had my ladies who came pick whichever in color they liked best, and then they each made one of these cards. And it was fantastic because each one looked different. Now, I know we're all big boys and girls watching, and you don't need to watch me make this whole, color in this whole piece of paper. So, through the magic of film, here's one that I've almost completed. And so I'm just gonna finish outlining this last flower. And as I said, it's really up to you how close you want to get to your shape. You could outline it right on the edge. You could give it a wide border, or as much as you felt comfortable doing. But it's kind of fun to see how different papers suit this technique and what you have that you might be able to work with. So let's see, almost finished. And there we go. So that really makes the paper look different. You can see through this one that I was working on how the original paper looks and how different it looks just by outlining it. So very different, like I said, very kind of artsy, but fun. And really easy because we're just using that 3 by 4 piece of paper. So let me grab some adhesive here. Forgot to grab that when I got started. So any adhesive you like for this, I'm using Stampin' Seal. Now we're gonna layer it on a piece of black first. This is 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. And obviously you could play with your colors. Now I decided to put this black layer to really kind of accentuate the black marker. And I actually see on here, I think I'm just gonna fix this a little bit. I was kind of drawing my eye a little bit and bothering me. Okay. Now we're going to take this panel and we are going to add it to a color layer that's 3.5 by 4.5. So basically 3 by 4, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, 3.5 by 4 1/4, or 3.5 by 4.5. Talking too fast. So very simple measurements here. You could add a few more layers if you wanted. This is a fun technique to really experiment with. And then this gets centered right there. Now I chose a basic white card base. Really was just accentuating these in colors that we have that are a lot of fun for summer. And you could pop this up on dimensionals if you like. I'm keeping all of this flat. I like that. I like how the black pops on the peach pie. All right, so we're gonna do a quick finish to end this. So very low-key stamping tonight. I have a strip of basic white. It's 1/2 inch tall. And I'm going to use black Memento ink, which I never fail to get on my fingers when I open my ink pad. Never once have I gone ink-free. And let's see, I'm going to stamp on the right side of it like that with my hello. Now you could add all sorts of sentiments to the front. You don't have to stick with a small word like I'm doing here. I'll show you some samples with some different ideas. But for this technique, what I'm going to do is find my scissors. And I'm just gonna snip the end at an angle, kind of a little closer. I made my strip a little bit longer than I needed to so I could trim it down in case I had any mistakes. To the back of this, I'm gonna add just 2 mini dimensionals. And then I'm gonna position this on the right side of the card and I'm gonna see where I like it best. I think I like it up here at the top on this one. Maybe right there. Just like that, but you could do it on the left, the right, the middle. Now to finish off, I'm going to put a rhinestone, just one little one. Can you tell I'm coming to the end of the sheet and trying to use them all up? Then I get to have a new pack. Just a little rhinestone. I could add more, but I like just the single one there. And then I don't like naked insides and naked envelopes. I know that kind of sounds funny, but I don't like plain Jane. I like a little pizzazz. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take an envelope and my peach pie ink and add just a tiny flourish to the envelope front and the inside. This way it doesn't have to be boring, but it doesn't have to be ornate and take me forever to put together either. A couple little accents. This is from our Heartfelt Hexagon set. It's one of my favorites. I'm thinking about just permanently leaving it on the block. So 2 little flourishes, just like that. And my card is finished. So this is a simple technique, and one thing I love about it, and I was talking to someone earlier today, simple does not have to be boring. There's nothing wrong with an easy card, but look, it's not plain Jane, it's not boring. I don't think somebody's gonna pick it up and just toss it in the trash, but I put time and effort into a card, but it didn't have to take me 3 days. And sometimes those are the kinds of cards you need if you're in a hurry. You can just put something together that's simple, but thought out and pretty to look at. So wanted to show you here. If you haven't already, check out my website. We have online exclusives. We have 2 new kits a month that are coming out. The kits have been rocking and rolling. They've just been phenomenal. Stampin' Up! Is really knocking it out of the park with the kits. We have our monthly paper pumpkin kits, which is creativity in a box that's delivered to you once a month. All that you can check out online. You can also follow me on Facebook at The Faithful Stamper. I talk about different incentives there, and I do a weekly contest for my Facebook Live videos that I'd love to have you be part of if you haven't checked that out already. That being said, I'm gonna move this out of the way for a minute. I'll try to remember to bring it back. But I wanted to show you this card layout in different colors, and every single one of these looks different. So you can see I positioned the tags differently. The color of the paper makes it different. So pick your favorite and just grab some paper that works and have fun. So I'm gonna show you some other samples with this, and they're all going to look tremendously different based on the paper that I used. So there's the in colors, 3 of the 5. And here's the next one that I put together, and I'm starting with this one because it was my least favorite. I really thought that this paper was gonna work well, but then I put my lines on it. Here I used some of our Stampin' Write markers with the thin tip, and I outlined the tree. I like the navy, and then when I added the purple, I went, ugh, I don't like that. But I hate to throw anything away. I mean, this is a beautiful piece of paper, right? So I thought, let's grab a stamp set with a speckle, which is one of my other favorite kind of stamps. And I started stamping. So I stamped in coordinating colors, the speckles on the paper, top and bottom. And then I just started putting the papers down. I had these scraps around, so I just added some more speckles, layered it together. And while this isn't my favorite card in the world, I really feel it came together well. I like the banners here at the bottom. And sometimes what I think is not going to go over well turns out to be the most popular card of them all. So it's funny how that works sometimes. And I just kept the theme going with the dots on the inside. And so there's a perfectly lovely Thinking of You card. Again, with just a little alteration to that designer series paper. Next up, here's another one using some of our in colors. This is more subtle than the harsh black on the designer series paper, and I didn't do the whole thing, but I put a little purple outline around each one of the flowers in the bunch. And then I added some cutout pieces, some die cuts, and my sentiment, mixed and matched a little bit of the paper. And I have a perfectly simple card. Again, not boring, not a lot of work. It didn't take me forever to circle all those little flowers, and I could have done it in a number of different colors. So just fun ways to take a piece of paper. I think sometimes people are afraid to cut their paper and then do a whole lot with it. You might not have a lot of time. This is simple. It's a simple way to change up paper just a smidge rather than just cutting it and gluing it on your card front. So this next one was inspired by another demonstrator named Arlene Graham. I saw her share a similar design and thought, I really like this one too. So here what I did was I took a white card base, layered some Lost Lagoon, and then another piece of basic white. And I picked Lost Lagoon to coordinate with my paper. This is a sneak peek at some new DSP that's coming this fall. And I cut 1.5-inch squares and then just hand drew with a marker the squares around the outside. And then I did use a ruler because I do not have that steady of a hand. But I used a ruler to draw a handmade line, and these aren't the prettiest hearts in the world. I think I would have tried a little something different, but I'd already glued my paper down. So some little hand-drawn hearts just to kind of give that handmade touch to it. And then I die cut a couple of hearts, one out of Lost Lagoon, and this is another sneak peek of that new paper. Isn't that cute? Look at those little birds. I love birds. I'm a bird watcher. So very simple but fun way to just, again, alter some designer series paper, or DSP as we stay in the Stampin' Up! Family. And it does not have to be like this extreme light to dark with a heavy Sharpie. You can use thicker markers if you want. You can use really fine line ones. This next card I really like. I saved my 2 favorites for the end, and this one I literally whipped together in less than 5 minutes. All I did was I cut a piece of designer series paper, and I used a very subtle marker and a thin marker to outline just some of it, not all of it, and not even completely outline. Here with the smaller flowers, I just kind of went in between the larger gaps between the petals to add a little something. Some people might not even notice that I did that. But then I added some die cut banners and a sentiment on the inside. This is a new stamp set I just got today, and I think it's gonna be a favorite. I like the wording. I love this image here so much that I put it on my envelope as well. But this didn't take me any time at all to put together, including the marker work. So very quick and easy. And then last but not least, I did a manly version. I was looking through all my designer series paper, and I've been playing a lot with the airplanes, but I had not used this one sheet of paper. And this one, I just really think my marker work made a difference. All I did was take a blue marker and outline around the clouds. Just kind of, not really neatly, not exactly sloppily either, but just kind of quickly outlined. Then I stamped and die cut the planes, added the banner, and there you go. And I really feel that the darker lines around the clouds make the clouds pop. Simple happy birthday message inside, and a very easy way to make a card look nice without a whole lot of effort. So I hope you enjoyed learning how to make an altered DSP card. I'd love for you to share on my Facebook page if you try your hand at any of these with some designer series paper you have at home. I stuck with current things, but I have oodles and oodles full of designer series paper stacked around my office, and probably could have gone to town with some cards like this. So it's a lot of fun to see what you've got, to see what you can do with it. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the technique. There again is my website in case you're new to the page. If you haven't already subscribed here to Faithfully Stampin' with Jennifer Helm, I would love to have you. You can click the notification bell and you'll be alerted each time a video is posted on the page. And as I mentioned earlier, you can follow me over on Facebook as The Faithful Stamper. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting.